Okay, good morning, second graders. I'm going to finish up this book about Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel today. So y'all can listen for adjectives and adverbs as we finish reading. So we left Mike Mulligan in the cellar yesterday. So now let's see if he can get out or what is going to happen. And I think y'all already know the answer. Nothing like this had ever happened before in Popperville. Everybody started talking at once, and everybody had a different idea. And everybody thought that his idea was the best. They talked and they talked and they argued and they fought till they were worn out, and still no one knew how to get Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann out of the cellar they had dug. Then Henry B. Swap said, "The job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of the cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid," and he smiled again in a rather mean way. Now the little boy, who had been keeping very quiet, had another good idea. He said, "Why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build the new town hall above her? Let her be the furnace for the new town hall, and let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. Then you wouldn't have to buy a new furnace, and we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day." "Why not?" said Henry B. Swap, and smiled in a way that was not quite so mean. "Why not?" said Mrs. McGillicuddy. "Why not?" said the town constable. "Why not?" said all the people. So they found a ladder and climbed down into the cellar to ask Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan. So it was decided, and everybody was happy. They built the new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. It was finished before winter. Every day the little boy goes over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and Mrs. McGillicuddy takes him nice hot apple pies. As for Henry B. Swap, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall, listening to the stories that Mike Mulligan has to tell, and smiling in a way that isn't mean at all. Now when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down in the cellar of the new town hall. There they'll be, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, Mike in his rocking chair smoking his pipe, and Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings in the new town hall. Okay, that is the end of the story. So I think that was a fun, interesting story. Now I lost my train of thought. Okay, so going on for today's lesson. Let's review how to add suffixes to words. So when a word is a short vowel word and we're adding a suffix that begins with a vowel, it's a short vowel word that ends with one consonant. What do we do to the consonant? We double it, right? So drag is a short vowel word, so we're going to double the G to add ing, dragging, and the same with adding ed, we dragged it. Okay, looks actually kind of funny for some reason, but anyways. Okay, now step. Is step short vowel or a long vowel word? It's a short vowel word, and so it ends with one consonant, so we're going to double the consonant again. So we have stepping, we doubled the P, and stepped. We doubled the P again. Both of our suffixes begin with a vowel. Now, when a word ends with a silent E, what do we do if we're adding a suffix that begins with a vowel? Okay, if a word ends with a silent E, we have to drop the E before adding the suffix. So trade becomes trading with no silent E in there. And then we have traded. Okay, you guys were doing this recently in your work, and I was impressed that people are catching on to this, so good job. Keep up the good work. Okay, so that's a little review on adding suffixes. Now, you've also, we're going to go ahead and do some oral review. I'm going to say some groups of words, and you have to tell me if it's incomplete or a complete sentence. So how about, since I'm outside today, if it's a complete sentence, you should chirp like a bird. And if it's not a complete sentence, then, let's see, how about, if it's not a complete sentence, growl like a dog, okay? So if it's complete, chirp like a bird, and if it's not complete, growl like a dog. Oh, I'm about to show you my sentences. Okay, here we go. First one, because it was dark. Complete or incomplete? Need to growl like a dog. It is not complete. Okay, because it was dark is an incomplete sentence. Here's the next one. We used a flashlight to walk back to camp. Tweet, tweet, tweet. That is a complete sentence. Here's another one. So many beautiful, bright stars. Growl like a dog. Not a complete sentence. The path to our tent was blocked by a skunk. Tweet, tweet, tweet. That is a complete sentence. The path to our tent was blocked by a skunk. And one more. Turned around quietly and found a different way. Complete or incomplete? Turned around quietly and found a different way. That is not complete. They could say, we turned around quietly and found a different way. Okay, now we're going to go over end punctuation. So go ahead and draw the punctuation in the air. Remember to punch if it's a period for a declarative or imperative sentence. Draw a question mark if it's interrogative, asking a question, and draw an exclamation point if it is an exclamatory sentence showing a strong feeling or emotion or surprise. Here's the first one. Have you finished packing your camping gear? Have you finished packing your camping gear? What kind of sentence is that? It's asking a question. It's an interrogative sentence. And so it should end with a question mark, right? Okay, here's the next sentence. Dad needs help loading the camper. Dad needs help loading the camper. Ends with a period. It's a declarative sentence. Just telling you something. Next one. Carry this sleeping bag for your sister. Carry this sleeping bag for your sister. Period. It's imperative. Giving a command, so it ends with a period. And here's one more, another one. I can't find my flashlight anywhere. I can't find my flashlight anywhere. Exclamation point. That's an exclamatory sentence. They're just showing strong emotion. Okay? And here's another one. Do you think we'll leave soon? Do you think we'll leave soon? Question mark. That is an interrogative sentence. I can't wait to go. Exclamation point. Or again, showing excitement. I can't wait to go. That is an exclamatory sentence. Okay, now, why don't you, again, if the sentence is correct, you can tweet like a bird, and if it's incorrect, growl like a dog. Jacob and Ashley unpacks the van. Is that correct or incorrect? Grr. That is incorrect. We should say Jacob and Ashley unpack the van, not unpacks. Next one. Mom begins dinner while we helps Dad. Is that correct or incorrect? Grr. No. Mom begins dinner while we help Dad, not while we helps Dad. How about this one? Emily studies the camp map. Emily studies the camp map. Yes, that one's correct. Emily studies. The subject and verb agree. Jacob finds some sticks for the fire. Jacob finds some sticks for the fire. Grr. Jacob finds some sticks for the fire. And here's one more. Our family loved camping. Our family loved camping. Grr again. Our family loves camping. Okay, so the subject and the verb need to agree. So you've been learning about dictionaries. Dictionaries are rather fun because they tell us a lot about words. And so, let's go over some of the parts of a dictionary that you've learned so far. So, I have things here: pronunciation, part of speech, guide words, entry words, definition, sample sentence. So now I'm going to say a sentence, and you see if you can remember the name that should go with that sentence. So these are the words the dictionary tells us about. What are they called? The words that the dictionary tells us about. They are called entry words. Okay? Entry words it's a word you can look up in the dictionary. All down those pages are lots and lots of entry words, and they're usually in bold print. Alright, these are the words at the top of each dictionary page that help us find the entry word. Remember what those are called? The words at the top of each dictionary page? They are called, let's try and find them, guide words. Guide words are the words at the top of each dictionary page, and they help us to know which words we're going to be able to find on that page. This part of the entry tells us what job the word has in the sentence. What would that be called? It's part of the entry that tells us what job the word has. It is the part of speech, okay? So if it's an adjective or adverb or noun, or what's the other one we learned? Can't think. Verb. It can tell us the part of speech, so we can find out what kind of word, what job it has. And this part of the entry tells us how to say the word correctly. It is pronunciation. The pronunciation, that's a big long word, and it just means how to say it, okay? So a dictionary can tell us how to say a word. This part of the entry gives an example of how to use the word. Gives us an example of how to use the word. A sample sentence. So if you look up the word run in the dictionary, then they might give a sample sentence like, the boy will run across the meadow. Okay, so it shows you how you might use the word. And the last one, this part of the entry tells us what the word means. What the word means. It's called the definition. The definition means what the word means. I just told you the definition of definition. Okay, so those are different parts of a dictionary. Now, sometimes in a dictionary, there might be 2 or 3 or even 11 definitions of one word. Okay, so each little definition will have a number beside it. So the first definition will have a little 1 beside it, and then they'll write the definition. And then there might be another definition, and then they write a 2 beside it, and they write the definition. Okay, maybe it's a long definition, and then there might be 3, and then they have another. So some words mean more than one thing. Okay, so on page 319, if you turn to page 319 in your language books, let me read the top of that page. Some entry words have more than one definition. Each definition has a small number beside it. So here's a sentence. Mrs. King put a seal on my certificate. What kind of seal? Did Mrs. King put a sea animal on my certificate? Isn't that what a seal is? Well, yeah, it is. But no, that's not what she put on my certificate. She put a shiny sticker on it. The word seal has different definitions. The dictionary can help you understand how a word is being used. So, underneath the orange box on page 319, we have the word bark. Bark is a noun. See how it says noun beside it? And then there are two definitions. So look for the number 1, and that tells you the first definition. So the first definition of bark is the loud sound a dog makes. Okay, so my roommate, she has a dog and it barks at strangers. So if you come to my house, it'll probably bark at you. And the second definition of bark, where the number 2 is, the second definition is the outer covering of a tree. Okay, so you have a tree and that stuff you can peel off of it, it's called bark. So now you can look at your questions on page 319. And for number 1, it says to mark the circle next to the sentence that uses the second definition of bark. So what is the second definition? It's the outer covering of a tree, right? The stuff you can peel off. I don't have any tree beside me, or I could show you some bark. But that's what bark is. So read the sentences in section number 1. My dog began to bark when I left for school. Does that sentence use the second definition? No. Okay. What about the second sentence? The bark on an aspen tree is white. Yes, it's talking about the outer covering of a tree. So that's using the second definition. So color in the circle next to the second sentence. And for section number 2, mark the circle next to the first definition. So they have 2 circles, 2 definitions. First one says, the loud sound a dog makes. And the second one, the outer covering on a tree. Okay, so which one is the first definition? The loud sound the dog makes. Okay, that is the first definition. Okay, so that's you learned about a word using 2 definitions. Sometimes in a dictionary, I've seen of a word that had like 11 definitions. It could mean 11 different things. So, and numbers 3 and 4. Number 3 says to write a sentence using the first definition of bark. So look up and see what the first definition is. And for number 4, write a sentence using the second definition of bark. They can be interrogative sentences, they can be declarative sentences, whatever kind of sentences. Just make sure it's a sentence and you use the right definition. Okay, y'all can go on and don't forget your dictation. I'm not going to go over that on your video today. So just don't forget to tell your mom when you're ready for your dictation. Okay, y'all have a great day and a really good weekend, a relaxing weekend, and talk to you again Monday.